Yo, what is going on, everybody? My name is Alan and this is Project Elevate, and welcome to the very first episode of Snipe Theory for 2K22, my team. All about the auction house, how to make MT. We're going to get into it, cover all our bases. First of all, you need to unlock the auction house. Lifetime agendas, collector level rewards. The very first one for collecting 30 cards right here is unlocking the auction house. Go ahead and do that, pick up some cheap cards. Get into the auction house. Obviously you gotta get them through rewards and stuff like that to unlock the actual auction house, token players, whatnot. Get some cheap cards, get some cards into your collection, and let's jump into this. All right, so today we're gonna talk all about using the auction house to make MT, and it's gonna be in some form of sniping. Okay, so a snipe is when you buy a card quickly when somebody puts it up for a price lower than what it's going for normally. Okay, so take into account that NBA2k charges you a 10% tax on cards that you sell. So that's your profit margin that you got to kind of work with. You got to at least make sure that you're making more. So in simple terms, if you sell a card for 1,000, you're only actually gonna get 900. So you need to sell it for at least 1150 to clear 1,000. All right, so there's a bunch of different ways to make MT in the auction house. You can pretty much do it in any type of tier with different types of cards, whether it's players, whether it's, you know, coaches, jerseys, court floors, or playbooks, whatever, consumables, badges are a good way, shoes. We'll see about shoes. Shoes work a little bit differently this year, but there's still some colorways that are probably going to be more expensive than others. You understand what prices go for, you're going to find deals all over the place. So that's the first thing I want to talk about is market farming. So farming in real estate terms is like a section, like a neighborhood that you know everything in and out about that. So this is the same way in NBA 2K. Get to know a particular sector of the auction house, whether it be badge types, shoes, players of any tier, whatever, and you can consistently make profits by just understanding the value and being patient. All right, so I want to talk about the different types of sniping. Now, a lot of these terms, I've just kind of made them up as they kind of see fit. So you might not hear them throughout the community, but they'll make sense when I explain them all. So the first one is big game hunting. Okay, so that's right now the highest auctionable cards are these diamond cards. So this would be the big game. These are the big high ticket items. And the way to make profits with these guys is simply just setting up filters below their price tag. You know, when the cards get over 100K, it would be like a 100K buyout. In this case, the cheapest ones are about 74. That's what I'm seeing here, 74, 75K. So you would go into here, you would set your maximum buyout filter to somewhere around that, and you would just refresh the auction house. Go out, back up, refresh again, and continue the process until something pops up that's substantially lower than the going price. All right, so keep in mind that the higher a price goes, the more 10% of the price actually is. So in this case, you're talking about, you know, 7,400 MT of tax that you're going to be taxed on. So really, if you find a card for 70K at this point and you try to for 75, you're still losing MT. So you just got to take into account that 10% whenever you're flipping cards. Now, a lot of big game hunting early on in the year, it's not as prevalent. When you get cards that go for, you know, a couple 100,000, that's really where big game hunting takes into effect. When you buy a card for 100K or less, and it's selling for 300K, 500K, a million MT, that's when big game hunting really comes into play. And how you would just set up that filter. Pretty much you would just set up the filter like this. Go to minimum buyout would be 500. So basically anything with any type of buyout is going to pop up on the filter, and then you would just refresh. You're going to see a lot of this. No auctions match your search, expand your search requirements and try again. And you're just going to keep refreshing. Anything that pops up, you're going to buy. Now, again, remember, you're setting up your filter for cards that are very expensive. As we get into the pink diamond tiers, some cards are going to be way over 100K, and that's where the big game hunting really comes into play. At this point, you're really doing a different type of sniping, which is called cliff sniping. All right, so cliff sniping, just a term that I've come off because pretty much you're sitting at a cliff of a price point and you're seeing everything that pops up below that point. So in this case, we have Diamond Shaq and Diamond Deron Williams. Deron Williams is much less expensive than Shaq. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna set up your filter right at the edge of where Deron Williams is. So I like to do this method where I can see 1 or 2 cards. You can set it up right below it if you want. Like you can set it up at your profit point, 10% below the 72K. But for some reason, to me at least, it's just way more boring to snipe when I'm looking at this message versus when I'm looking at a couple of cards. So there you have to kind of play with it. Obviously you're going to be, sometimes you have to scroll over too much. You're going to miss some big snipes. But I like seeing a card or 2 pop up just for my sanity's sake. So again, with cliff sniping, you're going to set your price point and you're going to see everything that pops up below that price cliff. And what's cool is that here you're going to have a higher chance of seeing some Deron Williams that you could flip for a couple thousand MT. But hey, you might actually see a Shaq pop up and then you get a bigger profit margin. So that's the way I like to set up my cliff sniping filters, where I can see cards that I'm gonna be able to turn more frequently, but I also have a chance at seeing a bigger snipe. I don't like hard scoping, which is just 1 player. I like setting up filters where I can see 1 or 2 players in a category, whether it be a set, a conference, a division tier, something like that. That way I have opportunity to make big MT, but I can also make more consistent smaller profits. Alright, so with cliff sniping, you can set it up with any tier or any category of card. And you just got to understand where that bottom floor is and then refresh. So obviously early on in the game when you don't have a lot of MT, you don't want to blow all your MT on 1 snipe. You're much better off trying to snipe at a lower tier, churning some quicker profits, and gradually building up that MT. So at this point here, at this price point, your profit margins are easier to reach because really you're only paying about 600 MT in tax. So anything that's like even something that pops up for 5,000, I could flip it and make a little bit of MT, and hey, a couple hundred MT is better than nothing MT. And again, with cliff sniping, what I like is that there are a few amethyst cards right now that are very pricey, at least in comparison to these guys. So you can see a Ray Allen pop up, or I think Kemba Walker is decently expensive. There's a few guys, Dwight Howard's, up in the teens, I think, or low 20s. So you have a chance to see those guys. Some guys, they really don't care or understand the market value of cards. So they see, oh, the lowest amethysts are at this point, and they're going to put it around that point as well. So that's where you can scoop in, make some bigger profits. But here, don't be afraid to take small profits. My cutoff point is usually about 500 MT. If I can at least make 500 MT, and it's something that's selling pretty quickly, then I'll go ahead and scoop it up, flip it real quick and just gradually build up that MT. It starts adding up. And when I see prices fluctuating like that, where I don't see anybody pop up, then I'll go ahead and move up my filter just a little bit. I like to see kind of what's sitting and what's not. You have to understand what prices players are at too. So which guys are the floor for this cliff sniping method, and which ones are the high value targets that you really want to try to scoop up fast. The other benefit of this is that you can kind of see how quickly some of these cards are moving, which is going to show you the market. And there's guys that really like to hold on. They're really in tune with the fluctuations of the market at different times of day, days of the week, and stuff like that. I'll do that from time to time, but 2K is a very unpredictable game. Early on, there's people, prices are adjusting as people get more and more MT. Sometimes prices can go up or down. Definitely with content drops, things change as like the meta changes. And, later on in the year, 2K will start dropping a lot of locker codes. So, see this guy. Ooh, no, we don't want to bid. We want to buy. Okay, so we just bought Cliff Hagan here, 4,800. As you can see, there's no other Cliff Hagans, so he sells for at least 6,500, enough to make a small little profit, right? So after I pick up a card like that, especially if I'm not super familiar with the value, so the cheapest Cliff Hagan is 7,700. Been up for 3 minutes. What I like to do too is I'll kind of go up a little bit more and see what price he's not selling at. So he's at 8,500, been up for about 15 minutes. Still not too bad, but I would probably put it at maybe like the second cheapest is usually a good bet. There you do run the risk of getting undercut as kind of prices fluctuate a little bit throughout the day. Worst case scenario, you break even or you take a small hit. The more MT you have, the less this really matters. Not every snipe is going to be, a home run, but if you can start knocking some of those base hits over time, you score runs, So early in the day, if I'm going to be playing the game throughout the day, I like to set my auctions for 4 hours. If I'm going to set something overnight, then I'll usually do a 12-hour auction. That way, just give it some more time for somebody to scoop it up or prices to fluctuate and that to kind of fall into the buy range. All right, so now I want to talk more about a philosophy, an overall philosophy, and there's kind of two ways to go about it. You can go for like the really big profit stuff, high margin stuff, which is like the big game hunting, a lot of the higher tier cliff sniping type stuff, or you can just use the production line method, which basically means you're just going to find anything that you can corner the market on and just turn a whole bunch of little profits. This is kind of the philosophy of having 50 auctions up at all times, and you just want to make a little bit of profit. It's kind of like the Walmart model of stuff. They're going to sell like a ton of volume. They're going to make a little bit of profit on everything, and it's going to add up to huge profits. Now, honestly, this is the way to go. From time to time, I will go on runs while I'll do that, but it takes a lot of time. It's the grindy method of the auction house. There's two ways to think about the auction house and making MT. One is just kind of like the thrill of the snipe, you know what I mean? And that's what the big game stuff does. When you get like a really big snipe, where you get that elite meta player for a couple 100,000 under his value, you get a crazy rush, and that's where like the addictions come into play. Anybody who's like been into sniping will tell you it's a really cool feeling and a big part of why we probably play MyTeam. But the reality is that if you just kind of do the production line method, in the time that it would take you to get 1 or 2 of those big snipes, you could turn your whole auction house, 50 items put up and sold a few times and make just as much, if not more profit. So that's definitely the smarter way to go about it. If you're like more business oriented and just want to like build out that MT as quickly as possible, do that. And I still recommend you doing it in a sector of the market where you can get a couple big snipes that will pop in. So again, like this amethyst filter is nice right now because I can make a couple thousand MT on a flip. I can make a couple 100 MT on a flip, but I can get a pretty big snipe where I'm making 20-30K. So that's a lot of like balancing out with the risk reward and the time spent and all that stuff. Get a little bit of thrills with more consistent production. But that's what you want to do. What's cool is that you can kind of take the auction house and sniping and flipping. It's kind of a little break from just playing the game. Making some time to make MT is going to be an important part of the game. So I wanted to get this out to you guys so you guys can learn how to use the auction house a little bit, make MT, have fun, build up your squads, and let me know in the comments what else you want to do. Let me know if you guys want me to like introduce like specific filters in this. In future episodes, I'll probably do like more sniping sessions, stuff like that, highlights from sniping sessions, which I might do on stream. Make sure you follow me on Twitch. That's project_elevate. It'll be flashing down there somewhere. But anyway, I think that's going to wrap it up for the first episode of Snipe Theory. Go ahead and drop that like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this as we grind 2K22. Thank God it's a good game, man. I'm pumped, I'm excited, I'm hyped. My name is Alan. This is Project Elevate. Till next time, elevate your grind, game, yourselves, and each other. Peace.